There's a certain kind of woman a man just can't forget. Not after a breakup, not after months of silence, not even after he's tried to move on. She lingers in his mind, in his heart, and in quiet moments when no one else is around. And here's the thing. It's not about how beautiful she was. It's not about what she did for him, how available she made herself, or how much she sacrificed. It's something much deeper, much rarer. It's an energy, a quality, a presence. This woman didn't beg to be chosen. She already was by the way she carried herself. She didn't chase, because she knew what she brought to the table. And when he tried to forget her, he couldn't, because the way she made him feel could never be replicated. In this video, we're going beyond surface level advice. We're diving into the exact emotional quality that makes a woman unforgettable to a man, even long after the relationship ends. We'll unpack what it is, how to embody it, and why it creates such a lasting imprint on his heart and mind. This isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about activating what's already inside of you and stepping into the most magnetic, emotionally resonant version of yourself. Because when you move from that space, men don't just notice, they remember, and they never really let go. If you've ever asked yourself, why can't he forget her? Or how do I leave that kind of impact? Stay with me. This isn't a game, it's a transformation. And once you understand this energy, you'll never settle for being forgettable again. So what is this powerful, unforgettable quality that makes a man hold on to a woman in his heart long after she's gone? It's not beauty, not charm, not even chemistry. It's emotional safety. Yes, the women men never let go of are the ones who made them feel safe enough to be fully themselves, not judged, not controlled, not forced to perform masculinity, but seen, understood, and accepted at a soul level. And the woman who can hold that space, she becomes rare in a world full of performance and pressure. Emotional safety doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior. It doesn't mean being a pushover. In fact, it's the opposite. A woman who offers emotional safety is so grounded in her own self-worth that she doesn't need to manipulate, micromanage, or prove anything. Her presence is calm. Her energy is regulated. She doesn't react from insecurity. She responds from alignment. And here's what happens when a man experiences that kind of space. He relaxes. He drops the armor. He feels like he can finally breathe. And that's what bonds him, even if he doesn't know how to explain it. In a world that constantly demands performance from men, being around a woman who simply allows him to be becomes unforgettable. But here's the twist. Emotional safety starts with you, not him. You create it by building it within yourself first. That means healing your own wounds so you don't bleed all over the connection. It means holding yourself with grace so you don't lose yourself in his chaos. When you're emotionally grounded, you don't need constant reassurance. You don't need to control the outcome. That inner stability is what allows him to feel safe too. The women men never forget aren't loud. They don't chase. They don't try to impress. They don't play games. They just are soft yet strong, loving but boundaried, emotionally open yet energetically detached from needing a specific result. That balance, it's intoxicating. And this is the secret. Men fall in love through emotional experiences, not just attraction. When they associate you with peace, with a sense of being fully accepted and respected, that feeling stays. He might leave physically, he might try to replace it, but once a man has tasted that kind of safety, his soul remembers, his heart remembers. He may never find it again, and that's why he never truly lets go. So if you're wondering how to become the woman he holds on to, the answer isn't to work harder, it's not to give more, it's to embody the energy that brings both of you home. Emotional safety is not weakness, it's your power. And once you learn how to hold it for yourself first, he'll feel it, and he won't want to let go. Most people think men bond through physical attraction or shared experiences. And while those do play a role, the deepest level of male emotional bonding is activated when he feels something much rarer. Emotional safety combined with feminine presence. This isn't talked about enough, but here's what's true. Men are taught to suppress, to perform, to protect. Society often rewards them for being stoic, logical, and emotionally closed. So when a man meets a woman who allows him to feel, who doesn't demand but invites, something inside of him shifts. It's not conscious, it's primal. You see, emotional bonding for a man doesn't happen when everything is perfect. It happens when he feels seen in his imperfection, and still accepted. Not mothered, not fixed, just witnessed and respected as he is. And when a woman can hold that space, when her energy says, "You don't have to prove anything to be safe here," that moment imprints on his nervous system. Because here's what happens physiologically. When a man is in the presence of emotional safety, his stress hormones drop, his guard lowers, his brain starts producing more oxytocin, the same bonding hormone responsible for emotional closeness and trust. That hormone doesn't come from sex alone. It comes from connection, real, grounded, soul-level connection. And what creates that connection? A woman who is emotionally self-regulated, who doesn't react out of insecurity, who doesn't demand constant reassurance, who isn't trying to control the outcome because she's secure within herself. Her peace becomes his sanctuary. And once he experiences that, he remembers it, even if he walks away from it. This is why men often circle back to the woman they couldn't explain their feelings for. Not because she tried harder, but because she made him feel something no one else did. Calm, understood, and emotionally safe. He bonded with how he felt around her. And no, this isn't about being a man's emotional therapist. You're not there to fix or carry him. You're there to be in your feminine power. Receptive, radiant, intuitive, self-contained. That energy doesn't chase. It doesn't force. It attracts effortlessly. And that's what draws a man in, over and over again. Because at his core, what every man is seeking, often without realizing it, is a safe space to put down his armor. Not with someone who loses herself to please him, but with a woman who stands firm in her self-worth and offers her love without attachment. When a man experiences that, something emotional awakens in him. And that bond, it's the kind that doesn't fade with time. Even the most radiant, high-value woman can accidentally dim her energy without realizing it, especially when she's emotionally invested or unsure of where she stands. And here's the truth. The energy that makes a woman unforgettable can't coexist with certain behaviors that come from fear, anxiety, or lack. When those behaviors take over, they hide your natural magnetism, making you feel like you're doing all the right things, but not getting the response you deserve. So let's talk about the most common mistakes women make that unknowingly push that energy into hiding, and what to do instead. The first mistake? Over-explaining or oversharing to gain connection. Many women feel that if they open up more, share everything, or pour their hearts out, it will build intimacy. But emotional closeness isn't built through emotional flooding. It's built through mutual space, pacing, and attunement. When you give too much too fast, it doesn't create depth. It overwhelms him. What makes a man stay curious is emotional pacing, the art of revealing yourself slowly, in alignment with how much he's earned. Second, seeking constant reassurance. It's normal to want clarity. But if you find yourself frequently asking where things are going, why he's distant, or if he still feels the same, your energy shifts from confident to uncertain. This tells him you're emotionally uncentered. And the irony is, the more you seek validation, the less secure you seem, which disrupts the very safety he's wired to respond to. Another common trap? Falling into proving energy. This looks like doing too much, being overly accommodating, or trying to show how different you are from other women. But here's the truth. When you're trying to prove your value, it implies that you don't believe in it yourself. That's not attractive. It's exhausting. Men respond to the woman who knows she's the prize and doesn't need to convince anyone of it. Then there's emotional overreactivity, blowing up over small things, sending paragraph texts when he's quiet, or spiraling into assumptions without fact. This kind of emotional instability doesn't feel safe. It feels chaotic. And when a man associates a woman with emotional overwhelm rather than emotional presence, he instinctively withdraws. And finally, a subtle but deadly mistake, losing yourself in the connection. This is when your focus shifts entirely onto him. When you stop doing the things that light you up. When your routine becomes about checking your phone, instead of checking in with yourself. This self-abandonment makes you emotionally dependent, and that energy repels rather than attracts. The woman who remains unforgettable is the one who stays rooted in herself, no matter who she's dating or how unsure things feel. She doesn't need to chase, convince, or perform. She simply holds her center, and that stillness speaks volume. Because in the end, it's not about doing more to keep him. It's about doing less and being more of yourself. Here's the beautiful truth. The quality that makes you unforgettable to a man isn't something you have to create. It's something you uncover. It's already within you. The real work isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to the woman you were before. Fear, doubt, and disappointment convinced you to play small, to embody this magnetic, emotionally grounding energy The kind that men deeply crave and never forget. You don't have to perform. You don't need to suddenly be hyper-feminine or change your personality. You don't have to silence your strength or become soft just to fit an image. What you do need is alignment, a deep connection with your inner self. So how do you do that without losing your authenticity? First, you reclaim your emotional center. That means learning to respond, not react. When a woman is grounded in her emotions, she becomes safe, not just to others, but to herself. She doesn't need to explain her worth. She doesn't seek closure through chaos. She doesn't make someone else's inconsistency a reflection of her value. And that calmness, that's powerful, that's magnetic. Next, embodying the quality means living from overflow, not lack. You prioritize your joy. You fill your own emotional cup, so you're not needing a man to constantly reassure or validate you. That way, when love does come, it adds to your life. It doesn't rescue you from it. Another part of this is boundaries, not as a weapon, but as an act of love toward yourself. When a woman honors her boundaries with grace, with calm, and without needing to explain herself 100 times, she teaches a man how to show up. And the right man will rise, the wrong one will run. Either way, you win. To embody this energy, you also stop chasing, not just physically, but energetically. You don't overanalyze his texts. You don't abandon your plans in case he calls. You don't twist yourself into someone you think he'll like. Instead, you lean back. You let him show you who he is. You observe. You choose, because you are also the chooser. And perhaps most importantly, you lean into your natural feminine rhythm. This doesn't mean being passive. It means leading with intuition, softness, and self-trust. It means allowing instead of forcing, receiving instead of chasing. It's the energy that says, I am already enough, with or without your approval. You don't need to be louder, prettier, or more fun to be unforgettable. You need to be more of yourself, the version of you who isn't afraid to take up space, to be soft without being small, to express truth without fear, and to hold standards without apology. That version of you, she's not created, she's remembered. And when you lead from her, you don't just attract love, you become the kind of woman no man ever wants to lose. Here's something most women never hear enough. You may already have the exact quality that makes you unforgettable. You just haven't fully recognized it yet. It's easy to overlook your own emotional power when you're focused on what's not working. Maybe he's gone quiet. Maybe he's inconsistent. Maybe you're wondering, what am I doing wrong? But what if the truth is, you're doing more right than you realize? Let's uncover the signs that you're already embodying the very energy that makes a man pause, remember, and never truly let go. The first sign, you don't force connections. You've reached a point where you no longer beg for clarity or chase someone who's clearly undecided. You understand that silence speaks, and instead of filling in the gaps, you hold your power in stillness. That choice, to stay calm instead of panicked, grounded instead of needy, that's emotional mastery. And he feels it, even if you never say a word. Second, you're able to feel deeply, but not collapse into your emotions. You might cry, reflect, feel the ache, but you don't allow pain to define your worth. That quiet resilience, that ability to self-soothe, is a core marker of emotional safety. When a man senses that you don't need him to fix you, save you, or validate your feelings in order to feel whole, it creates an entirely different kind of attraction, one that's rooted in respect. Another powerful sign, you express yourself honestly, even when it's uncomfortable. If you've ever calmly said, this doesn't align with me, or I don't chase, I attract, or I value consistency more than promises, without drama or ultimatums, you're already operating from high feminine integrity. You're not afraid to lose someone by being real, and that level of emotional confidence lingers in a man's memory. You may also notice that you don't need constant attention to feel secure. You're no longer addicted to validation. When he pulls back, you don't panic, you observe. You trust your intuition over the mixed signals. You're at peace when things are aligned, and at peace when they aren't. This inner balance is rare and incredibly magnetic. Another subtle sign, you prioritize your joy without guilt. You pour into your life whether he texts or not. You take yourself out, invest in your body, your goals, your mind. That independence, not the loud performative kind, but the soft, grounded version, is what captivates men long after the moment is over. You're a woman with her own center, and he knows it. And finally, you might already have this unforgettable quality if you can say no without over-explaining. You've stopped chasing potential and started honoring effort. You don't try to be perfect, but you're deeply aligned with your truth. You create peace, not pressure. in every interaction. You release with grace when something doesn't feel right, even if it hurts. If any of this resonates with you, then hear this. You don't need to become the unforgettable woman. You already are. You just need to keep choosing her every day, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you're doubting yourself, even when someone else doesn't recognize your worth. Because the woman who leaves a lasting mark is the one who leads with love, protects her peace, and never sacrifices her soul, just to be chosen. And when a man experiences that energy, the mix of warmth and self-respect, something in him, he may not even know why, but he'll keep thinking about you long after you've stopped thinking about him. That's the power you already hold. Don't dim it. Don't doubt it. Own it, and let the world and the right man feel the difference. Most men will never tell you this directly, not because they're hiding it maliciously, but because they simply don't always have the emotional language to express it. But when a man has been with a woman who embodies that rare, grounding, unforgettable energy, he talks about her long after she's gone. Maybe not to you, maybe not even to his friends in obvious ways, but in quiet conversations, in private moments, and even with future partners, her presence lingers. So what do men secretly say about these women? They say there was just something about her. I can't explain it. It wasn't how she looked, though she carried herself with confidence. It wasn't what she did, though she likely supported and inspired him. What stood out, what left the deepest imprint, was the way she made him feel. Not with pressure, but with presence. She didn't try to control the connection. She allowed it to flow. And that ease made him feel free, yet drawn to her at the same time. Men say things like, she never needed me, but she wanted me. There's a difference. She never begged, she let me go. And I still think about her. She saw right through me, but didn't try to fix me. She just got me. She was soft, but she had boundaries. She didn't let me play games. They remember how safe she felt, not because she tolerated everything, but because she had an emotional steadiness that didn't rise and fall with his behavior. She was the eye of the storm, and that calm feminine energy, it haunts them in the best way. Even if they fumbled the relationship, even if they couldn't commit, even if they left, they remember the woman who made them feel like they didn't have to pretend. And here's the part they rarely say out loud. They compare other women to her. Even if they're in a new relationship, there's this quiet voice in the back of their mind asking, why doesn't this feel the same? Because once a man has been emotionally nourished by a woman who embodies depth, confidence, and emotional freedom, most casual connections feel fat. They also say things like, I thought she'd always be there, but she was. I didn't even know how to respond. That's self-honoring. It leaves an impression, and often they come back, not because they've changed, but because they want to feel that energy again. Not just love, but the version of themselves they felt safe being around you. That's the power of this kind of woman. She doesn't need revenge. She doesn't need to post cryptic messages. She doesn't even need closure. Her self-worth is the closure. Her silence becomes his echo chamber. And long after she's gone, he's still having conversations with her in his head. So if you've ever been that woman, or you're becoming her, know this. You don't go unnoticed. You don't go unmissed. And you definitely don't go forgotten. Because once a man feels real connection, not performance, he never truly lets it go. If you take nothing else from this video, let it be this. You are already enough, right now, as you are, without needing to change, fix, perform, or prove. The very fact that you care, that you love deeply, that you're growing, that makes you extraordinary. But it's time you started believing it for yourself. So many women carry this silent pressure, the need to be more beautiful, more easygoing, more understanding, more chill, more perfect. And somewhere along the way, you may have started thinking that if only you could just be that woman, then he'd stay, then he'd choose you, then you'd be safe. But the truth is, the version of you who twists herself into someone else's ideal is never the woman who gets chosen from the heart. It's the version of you who stands in her truth, her boundaries, her softness, and her self-respect. That's the woman who becomes unforgettable. You are not hard to love. You are not too much. You are not asking for too much when you ask for clarity, consistency, respect, or emotional depth. You're asking for the bare minimum required to build real love. And the right man won't be intimidated by your standards. He'll be inspired by them. So stop waiting for someone to validate your worth. The call you've been waiting for, from him, from the world, from life itself, it's not external, it's internal. It's you finally saying to yourself, I don't need to be chosen. I already choose me. And when you live from that energy, everything you stop overthinking his silence. You stop bending to keep his interest. You stop questioning your intuition. You stop settling for potential. Because when you know you're enough, you don't panic when someone doesn't see it. You move with grace, knowing that what's truly aligned can never pass you by. This is your reminder that the most powerful, magnetic energy a woman can carry is not perfection. It's a woman at peace with who she is unforgettable. So no more chasing, no more proving, no more trying to earn a spot in someone's life who doesn't see your value clearly. The woman who holds her head high, who loves with depth, but doesn't abandon herself. She doesn't have to ask to be remembered. She already is, and that woman is you.